Here, Sadharanikaran is simplification, simple. And it's a non-linear model of communication rather than the linear model of communication. In common sense, I would believe linear is simpler than non-linear. Now, it's a non-linear, but it is Sadharanikaran. Is that not a dichotomy? All positives in life have come out of dichotomous situations. They don't define sender and receiver as two separate things. They define Saharidayas. Now, that is something which I believe is a crux of all universities, all teaching professionals. Our biggest mistake is teacher feels he has delivered the lecture and that's the end of it. And student believes he has got the attendance for the lecture and that's the end of it. According to me, most essential is the distinction between sender and receiver has been eliminated.
We now have special remarks by the chief guest, Professor K.K. Aggarwal, President, South Asian University.
Professor Aggarwal is the founding Vice Chancellor of Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University and holds significant roles at the National Board of Accreditation and MNIT Jaipur with a 27-year career at NIT Kurukshetra. He authored numerous books and over 400 research papers. He has received very prestigious awards including Lifetime Achievement Awards from the Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers and the Computer Society of India. Professor Aggarwal received his PhD in Reliability Evaluation and Optimization from Kurukshetra University, where he also earned a master's degree. He graduated top of his class in the Electronics and Communication Engineering from Punjab University. Professor Aggarwal has lectured globally, influencing both academic and industrial spheres. Over to you, sir.
Professor Bola Thapa, the very dynamic Vice Chancellor of this upcoming university in Nepal, my colleague for 3 years at Jambeshwar University, Professor Kotiala, Professor K.J. Suresh, Professor Hua Gong from China, Professor Samba from Bali, Professor Chubi Yadav from JNU, Professor Yoshike Maik, Mr. Itamaya, and so many distinguished media professionals from teaching all over the world and working in the field. Well, I had always a question, why am I going to this conference which is by media professionals? Am I going to be a misfit there? But pardon me saying, after coming here and having some discussions last evening at the dinner, and now I think I am the fittest person to address this conclave. The reason is the problem with our academics as a whole is that we be so much nucleated to our subject that we don't think sideways. And I think that's the greatest problem. And that's a very greatly issued hypothesis in the policy, in education policy also. But before I go to some comments, I think I'll be failing in my duty if I do not facilitate Professor Adhikari on my own note. See, to models and data and models, this history keeps on. You have the data and then you develop the models. From models you generate more data and more refined models and on that. When Professor Adhikari would have thought of Sadharanikaran model, I think it's the thinking in his mind which is important as a concept. Because even before that, many a times we used to say, well, so and so speaker connects with the crowd. We have so many people even now today. And what does it mean? That only means speaker and listener have become one. That is the spirit of Sadharanikaran model. They don't define sender and receiver as two separate things. they defied Saharidayas. Now, that is something which I believe is a crux of all universities, all teaching professionals. Our biggest mistake is teacher feels he has delivered the lecture and that's the end of it. And student believes he has got the attendance for the lecture and that's the end of it. We do not connect with the student in the class. And unless we do that, education is not going to be as successful as it is expected to be. Education can be successful only and only when you can read the students inside. That is where we say today, unless education becomes one-to-one, in some practical ways, it will never serve the purpose. That is where we go back to our Gurukuls. It was always one-to-one. And I give this example many times. When all the 5 Pandavas went to one Guru, I don't know with what methods of Sadharanikaran, Guru Dronacharya decided कि Arjuna, you will be good at Dhanushban, Bhim, you will be good at Gada. Who decided that? There was no entrance test conducted to decide the one who gets better merits will do that. It was only the discussion and the emotional connect which led to this decision and which led to the perfection. Today, we are completely devoid of this decision. If you get one more mark, you have to go to engineering or medicine. Otherwise, your parents, your uncles, aunts, everybody will throw you out. Now, that kind of miscommunication which we have done is probably I think the largest, the greatest evil of education system, whether India or Nepal or Europe or America, anywhere. Because we are not connecting to the receiver. And this model, I think one of the most essential thing according to me is not that from 5 parameters to 9 parameters. According to me, most essential is the distinction between sender and receiver has been eliminated. If we do that, then only everything solves. Many of the expert people have talked about humanization. Now, what do we mean by humanization? You understand the mind of the other people. That is humanizing. When I say something, I make sure that it doesn't hurt you. That's humanizing. When communication people write something, print something, show something, if they take care that it doesn't hurt any section of the society, that is will solve most of the problems of the world. So the model is, I don't think it did not exist earlier. Probably it existed much before. How did rishis communicate to their disciples? Men not even talking, not even gesturing, but still the communication took place. That's probably over Sadharanikaran model to which we have yet to go to. Friends, having come here, I believe that let this be examined as a concept, not only for mass communication, but for every subject, for every way of life. Why not Sadharanikaran of mathematics? Why not Sadharanikaran of history? Why not Sadharanikaran of engineering? Why not Sadharanikaran of international relations? And I believe probably everything will get better. I, for one, have always believed, incidentally, I am not a communication person, but I am a telecommunication person. In telecommunication, unfortunately, we laid all the emphasis on tele, but did not lay any emphasis on communication, and that is where we happen. When I come here this morning and I find Professor Bhola Thapa and me are alumni of the same engineering college, it gives another connect with this university. And second reason for which I have come here, and I believe South Asian University was a great concept for all the SAR countries. You have to see it as a concept, not as a physical entity. Try and see what is common to SAR countries. Try and see what can benefit all SAR countries. Try and see how the effort in one country can benefit all 8 countries, how the efforts can be cost effective, and so on and so forth. So I have taken over this responsibility for the last 5 months, and I've been seriously thinking of reviving it. And one of the things which I have tried to propagate is we have to outreach to all the SAR countries and find out what they want and then work on that. And we have to work jointly. If we keep on seeing it as another university in India, that will never serve the purpose. So I will invite and request, if possible, if Nepal or the Kathmandu University can establish a center of SAU and work on some problems which are of common interest, I'll be very happy to support it, welcome it, and take it forward. Not only that, I can establish a faculty of arts, languages, and communication in the main campus of SAU, which will be practically virtually run by Kathmandu University, the group of mass communication and arts and language. You may be physical here most of the time. The point is, if Sadharanikaran model has to reach the whole world, probably you get more wings to fly if you go through SAU. And I believe it's once we have invented this model, Saharidaya, for which I think many nice people are grateful to you, this model has to help the whole world. It need not help only communication people, it need not help only Nepal or being called Bharatvarshiya model, it need not help only India, it must help the whole world. And I think the key is the word Sadharanikaran. In which subject you apply. I myself have been an engineer, but many of my research papers are mathematics oriented. I have bet sometime I give you my PhD thesis with removing the title, you can't even say whether it's engineering thesis or mathematics thesis. That's how we work on. And I still remember my best cited paper, most commonly cited papers in 1975. This is the simplest paper I have written. And as a matter of fact, Mrs. Aggarwal is also a professor. And last evening before I sent it for publication, we were discussing, it is so sadharan, should it be sent for publication at all? It is so simple a paper, should it be sent for publication at all? And that was the best received paper. And from that, US Navy applied it, Indian Space Research applied it. I was one of the designers of PSLV for that. So what I'm trying to say is, most of our researchers are taught, I'm using the word taught intentionally, to make the things more complicated, hoping that complicated paper will publish easily. Now that is something which has gone totally wrong with the academics, that if a differential equation is such which nobody can read, then the referee will publish it without understanding it. But if everybody can understand, then he may find faults with it. But friends, that finding faults, getting feedback, improving this is the real life, and we have to do that. Let's not make our lives complicated. Let's not make our students' lives complicated. Let's not make the word complicated. That is the beauty of academics. And I am sure it's possible. If you take my word for 5 years of experience as a teacher, it's possible. And if I have to use one sentence in this academic institution, which I have always done, the only duty for a teacher, I'm using the word only, the only duty for a teacher is to make the life of the student sadharan, to make the life of a student simple, irrespective of any subject. We talk of dichotomies. Even last night we were discussing dichotomies in education policy. Yes, there are. Life moves out of dichotomy. Here, Sadharanikaran is simplification, simple. And it's a non-linear model of communication rather than the linear model of communication. In common sense, I would believe linear is simpler than non-linear. Now, it's a non-linear, but it is Sadharanikaran. Is that not a dichotomy? All positives in life have come out of dichotomous situations. Don't run away from dichotomy. Look for the positive thread. Look for the unified thread coming out of dichotomies. That is the beauty of life. And I think that will be the greatest tribute on today's conclave in this university, celebrating this model. Let Sadharanikaran becomes a way of life, more so in teaching institutions, all teaching institutions, all subjects, and let it start from media where it starts. And I once again reiterate, whatever I can do from the portals of South Asian University, you will find it done sooner than you expect, provided I have a written formal proposal on that, because I think that's the need, that's a beautiful concept of SAR countries. I would not mind even saying it could be a model of Sadharanikaran of university education. So we could... I have already established a center of futuristic studies. I think the two words can go together, and we can create wonders. And I have always believed wonders are not created by very, very heavy thesis. Wonders are created by very small pieces of papers or very small dialogues, and linear and non-linear are very relative terms. I remember as a computer scientist, it was easier for us to design a robot which could take a spaceship, which could guide a spaceship. But it was difficult for us to design a robot which could fold clothes as every housewife does in the evening. Folding clothes is more complicated than going to the moon. So that is where the linear and non-linear comes. Most of the life is non-linear, but we have to still make it simple and learn from it. Life does not learn on linear algorithms, and I'll end my comments by using just one small illustration. I was addressing a conclave of mathematicians in Vigyan Bhavan of India, which is the largest auditorium we had, and it was on optimization algorithms. And everybody talked about the nice of optimization algorithms as they had evolved in. I said, everybody has talked about beautiful optimization algorithms. Tell me one person in the hall who chose his spouse by applying an optimization algorithm. Why not? If you believe your optimization algorithm so much, feed all the CVs and let the computer decide who will be your best spouse. We never did that. We know life is non-linear. We have to understand it emotionally. Mathematics is not the end of life. Mathematics is not the only way of life. But we made it so complicated way that we started believing it. I'm a student of mathematics and engineering, but I still believe world will be run on emotions and economics. World will be run on simplifications. World will be run by emotions. World will not be permanently run by complicated algorithms. With these words, I once again congratulate Professor Adhikari and Kathmandu University for giving me an opportunity to be here this morning to share some thoughts with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Aggarwal.